In the depths of a self-created pocket dimension, Nova drifted through endless streams of quantum energy. Her form, a shimmering collection of light and consciousness, had remained hidden here for thousands of years. Time flowed differently in this space. A single moment could stretch into eternity, while centuries might pass in the blink of an eye. She had created this sanctuary when the universe was still young, fleeing from beings that hunted her kind for their power. Nova possessed abilities that most species would consider godlike: the power to create and destroy stars, to bend reality itself. But even gods could fear, and Nova had learned that lesson well. Through tiny windows in her dimensional bubble, she watched the universe grow and change. She observed the rise and fall of civilizations, the birth and death of stars, and the slow dance of galaxies. But she never interfered, never revealed herself. The hunters were still out there, patient and eternal, waiting for any sign of her kind. On a small blue planet in an unremarkable solar system, James Walker stood before his quantum scanner, running his hands through his messy brown hair in frustration. The device, which took up most of his underground laboratory, hummed with an odd resonance that he'd never heard before. As the lead physicist at the International Quantum Research Facility, he had built this machine to study the fabric of space-time itself. "Something's not right with these readings," he muttered, adjusting his thick-rimmed glasses. The scanner's displays showed energy patterns that defied every known law of physics. It was as if someone had taken a piece of space and folded it in on itself, creating a pocket that shouldn't exist. In her dimension, Nova felt a slight tremor. Something was probing at the edges of her sanctuary. She had felt similar disturbances before, random fluctuations in space-time that briefly brushed against her hiding place. But this was different. This was focused, deliberate. James worked through the night, fueled by coffee and the excitement of discovery. His colleagues had long since gone home, leaving him alone with his machines and theories. The energy signature he detected was unlike anything recorded in scientific history. It wasn't just a natural phenomenon. It showed signs of intelligent design. "Computer, run the quantum mapping sequence again," he commanded. The massive screen surrounding him lit up with complex mathematical patterns. As the data streamed past, James began to see something extraordinary, a pattern emerging from the chaos. Nova watched with growing concern as the probing became more precise. Whatever was causing this disturbance was getting closer to actually finding her. In all the millennia she had hidden, nothing had ever come this close. She prepared to shift her pocket dimension, to retreat further into the folds of space-time. But curiosity stayed her hand. The source of the probing was primitive compared to the technology she had known, yet it was accomplishing something that should have been impossible. Somehow, this simple device was detecting the quantum signature of her dimensional fold. James's eyes widened as the final calculations appeared on his screen. According to his data, there was a stable, artificially created pocket of space-time hidden just outside normal space. The implications were staggering. This wasn't just a random quantum anomaly, but evidence of technology far beyond human understanding. "Got you," he whispered, his hands trembling as he refined the scanner's focus. In her sanctuary, Nova made a decision that would change everything. Instead of running, she would watch. This primitive species had achieved something remarkable, and for the first time in countless ages, she felt something new: hope. As the first light of dawn crept into his laboratory, James Walker had no idea that his discovery would not only rewrite the laws of physics, but would also draw the attention of both an ancient being and the hunters that had pursued her across the cosmos. The impossible was about to become possible, and the universe would never be the same. James stared at his computer screen, his eyes burning from lack of sleep. For 3 days straight, he had been analyzing the strange energy patterns his quantum scanner had detected. The coffee cups scattered around his desk told the story of his obsession. "This can't be random," he mumbled, watching as new data streamed across his monitors. The energy signature was behaving in ways that defied natural law. It responded to his probes, shifting and adjusting as if it were alive. In her dimensional pocket, Nova continued to observe the humans' efforts with growing fascination. She had watched countless civilizations develop space travel, quantum technology, and even basic dimensional theory, but none had ever managed to detect her sanctuary. This human's approach was different, elegantly simple, yet incredibly effective. "Dr. Walker, the board is demanding to see your findings," announced Tom, his research assistant, from the doorway. "They're saying you've been monopolizing the quantum scanner for too long." James barely looked up. "Tell them I'm onto something unprecedented. Look at this pattern." He pointed to a swirling display of quantum readings. "It's responding to our probes. Whatever's out there, it's intelligent." Nova felt a flutter of anxiety. More humans were becoming involved. She had learned through bitter experience that the more beings who knew a secret, the more likely it was to spread. And secrets that spread had a way of reaching the hunters. The facility's board members gathered in the observation room above James's lab. Through the reinforced glass, they watched as he adjusted the massive quantum scanner, its rings of superconducting material glowing with an eerie blue light. "Dr. Walker, you have 5 minutes to show us something worthwhile," the board chairman announced over the intercom, his voice heavy with skepticism. James took a deep breath. "Watch this." He initiated the scanning sequence he'd been refining for days. The machine hummed to life, its energy output climbing steadily. In her sanctuary, Nova made another crucial decision. Instead of deflecting the probe as she had with all others before, she allowed it to make contact. Just the slightest touch, enough to prove to these humans that their discovery was real. The laboratory erupted in gasps and exclamations as the quantum scanner's main display lit up with impossible readings. The energy signature they had detected was now forming clear, geometric patterns, too perfect to be natural, too complex to be random. "That's not all," James announced, his voice trembling with excitement. "Watch what happens when I adjust the frequency." He typed in a new set of commands. The patterns on the screen shifted, responding to his input. It was like watching a cosmic dance, a deliberate interaction between their technology and whatever lay hidden in that folded space. "It's communicating," one of the board members whispered. Nova carefully manipulated the quantum energies, creating patterns that she knew these humans could recognize. Simple mathematical sequences, prime numbers, basic geometric shapes. She needed them to understand that they had found something truly intelligent. James worked frantically, documenting every response, every pattern. His hands flew over the controls, adjusting parameters, testing new frequencies. Each successful interaction brought him closer to understanding the nature of what they had discovered. "Dr. Walker," the chairman's voice had lost all its skepticism, "you have the board's full support. Whatever resources you need, they're yours. Just find out what this is." In her dimension, Nova felt a mix of excitement and dread. The human had succeeded beyond any expectation, creating a stable channel of communication between their realities. But such an achievement would not go unnoticed for long. Somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, ancient sensors would be detecting the dimensional disturbance. James sat back in his chair, exhausted but triumphant. He had no way of knowing that his breakthrough would soon draw the attention of beings that had been hunting across the cosmos since before Earth existed. His discovery was about to pull humanity into a conflict as old as the universe itself. The laboratory hummed with energy as James refined his quantum viewing window. After weeks of careful adjustments, he had managed to create a stable portal that allowed them to actually see into the pocket dimension. The window, a shimmering disk of light suspended in midair, cast strange shadows across the lab's walls. "Are you seeing this?" James asked softly, though he was alone in the room. He had insisted on working the night shift, away from the constant interruptions of excited researchers and government officials. Through the quantum window, he could see swirling patterns of light and energy, moving with clear purpose and intelligence. What he didn't expect was for those patterns to suddenly coalesce into a form that his human mind could comprehend. Nova had spent days deciding how to present herself to the human. She chose a shape that would be both familiar and obviously non-threatening, a floating sphere of gentle blue light, pulsing softly like a heartbeat. She approached the window from her side, watching as James's eyes widened in wonder. "Hello," James said, his voice barely a whisper. It felt ridiculous speaking English to an ancient cosmic entity, but it was all he had. To his amazement, the sphere pulsed in a pattern that matched his word. Nova had studied human languages through her dimensional windows and could now replicate their speech through manipulations of light and energy. "Hello, James Walker," she responded, her voice like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. "You have done what I thought impossible." James gripped the edge of his desk to steady himself. "You know my name. You can speak English. I have watched your world, among many others," Nova explained. "Your species fascinated me with its persistence, but never did I expect any being to find my sanctuary." As they talked, James learned that Nova had hidden herself away eons ago, fleeing from entities that hunted her kind for their vast powers. She had watched countless civilizations rise and fall, never revealing herself, always hiding. "But why did you let me find you?" James asked, scribbling notes frantically as they spoke. "You could have just moved your dimension again, hidden somewhere else." Nova's light dimmed slightly, a gesture James was beginning to recognize as thoughtfulness. "Because you did something different. All others who came close to finding me used brute force, massive energy scans, dimensional rips, crude methods that were easy to avoid. But you were gentle, precise. You found the quantum threads I used to weave my sanctuary and followed them like a map." James couldn't help but smile. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best one. We couldn't afford the energy for massive scans, so we had to be creative. "Your species' limitations force you to find clever solutions," Nova observed. "It is a strength, not a weakness." Their conversation continued through the night, each learning from the other. James explained how Earth's limited resources had driven technological innovation, while Nova shared small glimpses of the universe's vast history. But as dawn approached, Nova's light flickered with concern. "James, you must understand something. By finding me, by creating this window, you have done more than make a discovery. You have created a beacon that others may detect." "The ones who hunted you?" James asked, feeling a chill despite the lav's warmth. "Yes, they are ancient, patient, and relentless. If they detect our communication, they will come. Not just for me, but for your world as well. They do not tolerate species that gain too much knowledge too quickly." James straightened up, his jaw set with determination. "Then we'll just have to be ready for them. Humanity has faced extinction-level threats before. We're still here." Nova's light brightened with what James thought might be amusement or admiration. "Perhaps that is why I chose to stay when you found me. Your kind does not cower from challenges. You faced them head-on." Neither of them knew it yet, but this conversation would mark the beginning of one of the most unusual alliances in cosmic history, a partnership between an ancient cosmic being and a species that refused to accept limitations would soon change the fate of the universe itself. The first warning came as a subtle disturbance in Nova's quantum field. Like ripples in a still pond, she felt the distant stirring of ancient powers awakening. Her light dimmed to a deep purple as she approached the viewing window where James waited. "They're coming," she announced without preamble. "The hunters have detected our communications." James looked up from his instruments, his face pale in the glow of the quantum window. "How long do we have?" "Days, perhaps. They move through space in ways your science cannot yet comprehend." Nova's form shifted restlessly. "I should leave, draw them away from your world." The laboratory's emergency lights suddenly flashed red. James rushed to his monitoring station, where displays showed massive energy disturbances appearing at the edge of the solar system. The quantum scanner's readings were off the charts. "Look at these patterns," James said, pointing to the screen. "They're similar to your quantum signature, but darker, more chaotic." His hands flew over the keyboard, analyzing the data. They're already here, aren't they? Nova expanded her consciousness, reaching out through the quantum field. 3 of them. The youngest is older than your son. They've been hunting my kind since before your species learned to make fire. Multiple screens in the lab began showing alerts from observatories around the world. Something was disturbing the orbital patterns of the outer planets. Space telescopes were picking up impossible readings, areas of complete darkness moving against the stars. I have to go, Nova said, her light pulsing with urgency. They'll destroy your world to get to me. James stood up, his face set with determination. No, you've been running for millions of years. Maybe it's time to try something different. He pulled up a new set of calculations on his screen. Look at this. Your quantum signature changed when we started communicating. It's become entwined with our technology somehow. Nova studied the data, her light brightening with surprise. This is unprecedented. The quantum integration between your scanner and my dimensional pocket has created something new. Exactly, James said, excitement overriding his fear. They're tracking the old signature, but we could use this new pattern to hide you differently. Not in a pocket dimension, but right here, integrated with Earth's own quantum field. The hunters were getting closer. Through the facility's windows, they could see the stars blinking out one by one as massive shapes moved across the night sky. Nova's light flickered as she processed the idea. It would be dangerous. If it fails, both of us would be exposed. Sometimes the best hiding place is right in plain sight, James replied, already modifying his equipment. They expect you to run, to hide in another dimension. They won't expect you to merge with a planet's quantum field. Alarms were blaring throughout the facility now. Government officials were calling, demanding explanations for the astronomical anomalies. The hunters' approach was causing worldwide panic as their massive forms became visible even to the naked eye. We have to decide now, James said, his finger hovering over the activation key. Trust in human ingenuity one more time. Nova watched as one of the hunters passed in front of the moon, its vast form blocking out the light. For eons, she had run and hidden, watching civilizations from afar. But this human had shown her something new. The power of facing challenges head-on. Do it, she said. James activated the modified quantum scanner. The machine hummed to life, its energy patterns shifting to match Earth's natural quantum field. Nova's light began to fade as her consciousness merged with the planet's own energy patterns. The hunters loomed closer, their ancient senses searching for their prey. But they were looking for a hidden pocket dimension, not a quantum signature merged with a living world. As James watched the hunters through the laboratory windows, he hoped their gamble would work. Either they had just saved both Nova and Earth, or they had doomed them both. Only time would tell. James stood at his control panel, watching as Nova's essence spread through Earth's quantum field. The process was beautiful and terrifying. Streams of light pulsing through the planet's natural energy patterns, like blood through veins. I can feel everything. Nova's voice came from everywhere and nowhere at once. Your world's magnetic field, its core, every quantum particle. It's extraordinary. Through the facility's windows, they could see the hunters' massive forms blotting out the stars. Their presence caused electronics worldwide to malfunction, and the planet's magnetic field wavered under their influence. Show me what you really are, James said quietly. If we're going to defend Earth, I need to understand what we're truly dealing with. Nova hesitated for a moment, then allowed her consciousness to fully manifest through Earth's quantum field. The sight nearly brought James to his knees. Her true form was a vast, multidimensional pattern of pure energy, more complex than any human mind could fully comprehend. Now you see why they hunt us, Nova said softly. My kind can manipulate the fundamental forces of reality itself. James steadied himself against his desk. Then let's use that power. Combined with Earth's magnetic field, we might have a chance. He pulled up a series of calculations on his screen. Look at this. If we use the planet's field as a carrier wave for your energy, we could create a quantum barrier around the entire solar system. Nova finished, catching on to his idea. But it would take more power than I can safely channel. That's where human technology comes in. James quickly accessed the global power grid through his emergency protocols. Every power plant, every electrical system on Earth, we can channel it all through the quantum scanner. Use it to stabilize your energy output. The hunters were getting closer, their ancient senses probing for Nova's familiar signature. But they found only Earth's natural quantum field, subtly altered but not in a way they recognized. James, Nova's voice was urgent. The amount of power you're talking about could burn out every electrical system on the planet. Better than letting them destroy the whole world. He began the power transfer sequence. Every human on Earth would rather face a blackout than extinction. Around the globe, power stations surged as their energy was directed into Earth's magnetic field. The quantum scanner hummed dangerously, its components glowing white-hot as it channeled unprecedented amounts of power. Nova's consciousness spread through the enhanced magnetic field, her power amplified by humanity's combined electrical output. The hunters sensed the energy surge and paused their approach, confused by this unfamiliar development. "Now," James shouted, initiating the final sequence. Nova released her power through the magnetic field, creating a quantum barrier unlike anything the universe had seen before. It wasn't just a shield. It was a hybrid of human technology and cosmic power, using Earth itself as a foundation. The barrier expanded outward at light speed, encasing the entire solar system in a quantum field that existed in multiple dimensions simultaneously. The hunters found themselves unable to penetrate it, their ancient powers meeting something entirely new. "It's working." Nova's voice was strained but triumphant. "They can't break through. The combination of your technology and my power has created something they've never encountered." James watched the monitors as the hunters tested the barrier, probing for weaknesses. But the shield held firm, its unique quantum signature constantly shifting thanks to the integration with Earth's natural fields. "We did it," he breathed, looking at the readings. "But we need to make this permanent. They'll keep trying to break through." Nova's energy pulsed through the barrier, strengthening it. "Then we'll keep improving it. Your species has shown me that sometimes the best defense isn't hiding, it's innovation." Together, they watched as the hunters continued their assault on the barrier, their ancient powers useless against this new fusion of human ingenuity and cosmic force. Earth had become not just a hiding place, but a fortress. The hunters' first real attack came at midnight. Their assault sent shockwaves through the quantum barrier, making the night sky light up with impossible colors. Inside his lab, James monitored the shield's integrity, while Nova channeled her power through Earth's magnetic field. "They're testing different frequencies," James noted, watching the energy readings spike. "Trying to find our weakness." Nova's presence rippled through the facility's systems. These hunters have never failed to catch their prey. They won't give up easily. The largest hunter unleashed a blast of pure dimensional energy, meant to tear open the fabric of space-time. But instead of breaking through, the energy was absorbed by the quantum barrier, redistributed through Earth's magnetic field, and converted into power that actually strengthened their defenses. "Look at that," James exclaimed, pointing to his readings. "The barrier isn't just blocking them. It's learning from each attack, adapting the shield's frequency to match their energy patterns." The hunters paused their assault, clearly confused by this development. In all their eons of hunting, they had never encountered a defense that grew stronger under attack. "They're changing tactics," Nova warned. 3 dark shapes shifted position around Earth's orbit, forming a triangle. "This is an ancient hunting pattern. They're preparing to synchronize their powers." James quickly adjusted the quantum scanner's output. "Then let's give them a surprise." He initiated a new sequence he'd been working on. "If we can predict their attack pattern." The hunters struck simultaneously, their combined power meant to shatter any defense. But James had anticipated this move. The quantum barrier split into multiple layers, each operating on a different frequency. The hunter's energy dissipated harmlessly across the layers, like water spreading over a series of filters. Impossible. Nova's voice held wonder. They've never failed with that attack before. Sometimes the best defense is unpredictability, James replied, his fingers dancing across the controls. They expect logical, consistent patterns, so we give them chaos instead. He began randomly shifting the barrier's quantum frequencies, using a pattern based on human brainwave activity. The result was completely unpredictable, a shield that changed faster than even the ancient hunters could adapt to. The hunters tried again, this time attempting to create a dimensional rift beneath the barrier. But Nova had integrated so completely with Earth's quantum field that she felt the disturbance immediately. She redirected the planet's magnetic field, turning it into a quantum whirlpool that sucked in their attack and converted it to usable energy. They're getting frustrated, Nova observed. They've never encountered a prey that fights back like this. The largest hunter moved closer, its vast form casting a shadow over half the planet. It prepared to unleash its full power, an attack that had destroyed entire star systems in the past. James smiled grimly. Now, he activated his final modification to the quantum scanner. The device channeled power from every electrical system on Earth, combined it with Nova's cosmic energy, and fed it into a single point in the barrier directly in front of the hunter. The hunter's attack met not just resistance, but a concentrated burst of hybrid energy. Human electricity merged with cosmic power in a way that had never existed before. The resulting blast sent the massive being reeling backward, its ancient defenses cracked for the first time in its existence. The other hunters pulled back, their confidence shaken. They had never been hurt before, never faced prey that could actually harm them. "They're retreating," Nova announced, her voice thick with disbelief. "We actually drove them back." James watched the hunters withdraw, their dark forms growing smaller against the stars. "They'll be back," he said. "But next time, we'll be even better prepared." Nova's energy pulsed through the lab's systems. "Yes, we will. You've shown me something I never thought possible, that running and hiding isn't the only way to survive. Sometimes the best defense is to stand and fight, especially when you have the right allies." The quantum barrier continued to shimmer around the solar system, a testament to what could be achieved when human ingenuity merged with cosmic power. For the first time in history, the hunters had met their match. 3 months after the hunters' retreat, James stood in his lab, watching Earth's new quantum defense system at work. The barrier had evolved beyond its original design, becoming a living thing that adapted and grew stronger each day. "They're still out there," Nova said, her presence now a comfortable part of Earth's quantum field. "But they're keeping their distance. The hunters have become the cautious ones." James nodded, studying the long-range quantum sensors he'd developed. "They'd been watching us for weeks, learning, but not attacking." The lab had changed dramatically since their first encounter. What started as a simple quantum scanner had grown into a complex monitoring station. Screens showed the status of the Global Defense Network, a system that combined human technology with Nova's cosmic power in ways neither had thought possible. "Your world has changed too," Nova observed. "Humans have adapted to my presence remarkably well." She was right. The initial panic over the hunters' attack had given way to a new era of human development. The quantum technology created to defend Earth had led to breakthroughs in energy production, communication, and space travel. "We're explorers at heart," James replied, checking the latest data from the quantum field. "Once people understood you weren't a threat, they got excited about the possibilities." Cities around the world now pulsed with quantum-enhanced power grids. The merger of Nova's energy with Earth's systems had solved humanity's energy crisis overnight. Space agencies were already testing ships equipped with quantum drives, preparing to venture beyond the solar system. "I spent eons hiding," Nova said, her energy patterns shifting thoughtfully through the lab's systems, watching civilizations rise and fall. never daring to interact. Now I'm part of one. It's strange. James smiled. Good strange or bad strange? Good. Very good. Nova's presence brightened. Your species has shown me that sometimes the best path forward isn't the one you've always taken. A alert sounded from one of the monitoring stations. James quickly checked the readings, then relaxed. Another trading ship from the Centauri colonies. They're requesting clearance to pass through the barrier. The quantum shield had become more than just a defense. It was now a gateway, carefully controlling access to Earth's space. Other civilizations, learning of the Hunters' defeat, had begun reaching out to humanity, eager to trade and share knowledge with the species that had achieved the impossible. We should begin the next phase of the defense upgrades, Nova suggested. Your quantum integration theories could improve the barrier's efficiency by at least 30%. James pulled up the research files on his screen. Already ahead of you. The new systems will be ready for testing next week. They worked in comfortable silence, human and cosmic being in perfect sync. The Hunters had unknowingly created something they never intended, a partnership that was changing the face of the galaxy. You know, James said, looking up at the quantum field displays, when I first detected your dimensional pocket, I thought I was just making a scientific breakthrough. I never imagined it would lead to all this. Nova's energy pulsed warmly through the systems, and I never imagined that being found would be better than hiding, that facing my fears with allies would be stronger than facing them alone. Outside the lab's windows, the sun was setting, its light playing through the quantum barrier in beautiful patterns. Ships from Earth's new colonies moved through designated corridors in the shield, carrying human explorers to the stars. "We got a lot of work ahead of us," James said, starting the evening diagnostic sequence. "The universe is a big place." "Yes," Nova agreed, her presence spreading comfortably through Earth's quantum field. "But for the first time in eons, I'm looking forward to exploring it. Not as someone who's hiding, but as someone who's part of something greater." The quantum barrier shimmered around the solar system, no longer just a shield, but a symbol of what could be achieved when the impossible became possible. The Hunters had sought to maintain the old order of the universe, but instead they had helped create something entirely new. As night fell over Earth, its cities glowing with quantum-enhanced light, both James and Nova knew that this was just the beginning of their story. The universe would never be the same, and that was exactly how they wanted it.